Well, hello, and away we go to another edition of the Big Freaking Friday Show right here on the College Football Mafia Network. I'm your host, Nathan Bomber Brown, with my partners in crime, always on these Friday nights. That would be the Wild Ute and Moen. How you guys doing tonight?
Happy freaking Friday. Big freaking Friday.
Yeah, for
What's up,
sure.
guys?
Lots to talk about this week. How you
Oh my
doing,
gosh.
Moen?
I'm doing well. Just recovering from a Memorial tournament. I got some shots in the back yesterday. I'm going to take a shot right now.
There we go.
Okay, that's not really a shot, Moen. Those are swigs or something.
I'm going to throw that Georgia Tech right now, Mo, and let's get
Okay,
started
all
here.
right. Get started early. Is that what we're doing? You're also wearing a West Virginia hat, Moen. Is that via some bet you made?
No, I'm just supporting West Virginia. They got the Super
Okay,
Regionals this weekend. And then the
nice.
second hour, I will be wearing the Kansas Jayhawks hat for Kansas. So
I
uh,
love it.
representing my two Big 12 teams.
Yeah, hey, man, whatever you got to do to make you happy. That's all I can say. Welcome to another show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube. Consider leaving a super chat. Well, those comments we read first. Member chats we read second. They get priority. And then, of course, we'll read as many of your normal chats as we can get to. But that's kind of what we do around here. So if you're watching us for the first time, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you're on YouTube, if you're on X, jump over to YouTube for a second, open up another window, go to College Football Mafia, and become a new member. Moen, how do they go ahead and do that?
Become a new member. You can click the little cash icon underneath the chat window. From there, you can leave a super chat, super sticker, become a member, gift a membership. All good things. All help us out on the channel. Thank you so much for everybody who does leave a super chat, becomes a member, and gives a membership.
Those gift membership people, we remember you. Just so you know, we remember the people that give other people memberships. Anyway, let's start off with shout outs because we got plenty of news to cover, but I want to say and cover the people that are watching us right now. KAIO, is that right?
Kaio.
No, Kaio. I want the
Kylie,
SEC.
go ahead.
Kaio, I want SEC and Big Ten to leave the NCAA forever. Let the conferences govern themselves to create the best sports product. Notre Dame, time to join the Big Ten or SEC. Time for all to get with it. Ute.
Man, we're jumping right into it with this comment right here. I don't think that we are going to be seeing anyone breaking away from the NCAA anytime soon, guys. I think that is way outside of bounds here. NCAA basketball tournament, the structure of the Olympic sports. I don't think that people have really thought that through, how that could look. That's going to take that's like a 5 to 10 year project. But here's the thesis on my end of this live show.
I'm listening.
See this.
FBS plus.
I don't like this, but instead of a breakaway from the NCAA, I think
Yes.
what we're going to see is an FBS plus. I
Yeah.
think that we're going to see an argument by the Big Ten and the SEC to create their own subdivision of sports within the NCAA. And
Yeah.
so we will have an FBS and an FBS plus instead of a full-on breakaway from the NCAA, which is just as difficult as a true breakaway to schools that aren't involved in the FBS plus.
Yeah. So we're going with plus instead of premier or some of the other names.
Yeah,
FBS
call it
plus.
whatever you want. I like the
Okay.
plus
All
sign.
right. I think plus is, yeah, it's fine. I can work with plus. Moen, what do you think about that one before we get to the next comment?
I like ultimate. FBS
Oh,
ultimate.
FBS Ultimate.
Yeah, I really want the
Epic.
testosterone to
FBS
be.
Epic. How about that? Go ahead, Moen. I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's what I would go with ultimate. But I mean,
Okay.
this all comes down to what constitutes a super league.
Yes, it does.
We'll talk a little bit about Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz says they want to form a super league. Petitti and Sankey say we do not want to form a super league.
Yes.
And I think maybe Ted Cruz is being a little flexible with the truth.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll get to that. Kenneth Maynor in the house. He is an East Carolina Pirate and a Florida Gator. But tonight he is the East Carolina Pirate. And thank you so much for being a member of the College Football Mafia family, Kenneth. Shouldn't Sankey and Petitti be the Sith Empire and the ACC Big 12 G6, the Rebel Alliance? I don't like the good guys, so I'd rather be in the Sith Empire, frankly. What do you think about that, you?
Yeah, it kind of feels like that based on all the narrative. Look,
A little bit.
look, we hang out. We have a lot of Big 12 and Big 10 folks in the communities. We hear a lot of the different thoughts and everything. It is from the Big 12 perspective. It's very much like you're the Rebel Alliance trying to keep the bad empire from, destroying you. Like, let's be honest. That's
A little bit, yeah.
it, right? Like, this is
Yeah.
destruction. The Death Star is pointed right at your planet, the Big 12 planet. If they hit that nuke button and stuff, and they want to make an FBS plus, they want to break away and separate away, then they're basically nuking you out of relevance, relegation, in other words. So I totally see it, but that's not going to be the narrative from the Big Ten. It's not at all.
No, I don't think so either. Moen, are you welcome to be a Sith?
No, we're not the Sith. We're clearly the Rebel Alliance in this. The Sith was about oppression and control, which is exactly what this bill does. It oppresses and attempts to control the Rebel Alliance of the Big Ten and the SEC.
I think I could have predicted you would say that, but I think that's an awesome reply. Outlaw Skies in the house. He is fifth, always fifth in our hearts. Go Buckeyes. Also a member of the College Football Mafia family. Buckshot Kid saying, oh, hey, at the College Football Mafia. Buckshot Kid's also a member of the College Football Mafia family. We got to ring bells for all these people. The other Gygax, Daniel Gygax, contributor extraordinaire at the College Football Mafia. We appreciate the work he does, a valuable member. And he says, hi, everyone. So that was that. Manic Reaction says, what up? What up? We'll get to you, man. We'll get to you. Skaven, yes. Go Big Red. Hello, Big Ten comrades. Do you look at Nebraska as a comrade yet?
Yeah. No, they're in it. They're in it. Although I think their academics need to take a step up. But what can you do? I mean, if we're letting Oregon in the conference, I really don't have any room to complain about Nebraska's academics.
So, Nebraska. Ooh, don't do that. Skaven, yes. Also a renewed member of the College Football Mafia family. I love that. Thank you so much, Skaven. We appreciate you being back, brother. It's great to have you. There you go. Thank you, man. Wow, that's a lot. TF Williams in the house, another member of the College Football Mafia family, saying, hey, everyone, go Noles. Lots of fans of Florida State around here. Daryl, CRH, says, hello, go Utes. Do you know Daryl? You?
Oh, yeah, I know Daryl.
Do you?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, Daryl, I don't recognize you for some stupid reasons, so I appreciate you being here. Thank you for being a member, or at least a viewer of the College Football Mafia family. We appreciate you. Jan Hulk checking in from Slovenia, saying, hey, y'all. Good to see you, Jan. I hope you're doing well. It's been a minute since we talked. You'll have to leave a message. Let us know how you're doing. Mark's Holy Grail, the godfather of many, many different types of playoff formats. Mark's Holy Grail says, happy Friday, Nathan, Wild Ute, and Moen. I love that. That's great. Jay Chapman, boy, he's been gone and back and gone again. Good to have you here, Jay. It's been a minute. Good to have you in the house, always representing the SEC conference, saying OCO, everybody. Is that right? OCIO? Do I say that right? Anyway, and then this banging at the beginning of the show, 5 new memberships
Let's
to
go.
the College Football Mafia. Go ahead, Moen.
Yes, it's the new month. We've got free memberships to give out, and there's 5 of them that went to.
Let's go.
Oh, I got to get real close here. Sooner Legend Podcast, Solar Knoll, Lee 65, Argy B708, and Patrick SG 7 centimeters.
Let's go.
Nice.
Thank you.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here, and you can use that membership after our show's over. Go into our back catalog of videos, and you can watch all the member videos and also the member shows that we've done in the past. Our off season is the best when we put out some amazing content, so I recommend you check that out. And then in the end, consider becoming a renewed member of the College Football Mafia family. But take that present with our blessing. Becky Go Huskies, also a contributor around here. Gotta love having Becky in the house saying hello all. Good to have you here, Becky. Becky's also a member of the College Football Mafia family. Amy S79, Star Wars and college football. Go Utes. I'm already outnumbered. That's
go Utes.
Go Utes.
Utes.
Well,
I'm getting a little excited here. Okay.
Okay, I love. Utah's going into an interesting season, so we will have to see one that's been looked at. For
All
a
gas,
long
no
time.
brakes. That's what they call it. All gas, no brakes, baby.
Okay, all right. Royal Pain CFB says 24-team SEC, 24-team Big Ten with regional divisions like old school conferences. Let's roll.
I like
No,
it.
nobody wants to say anything about that.
Listen,
Okay.
I don't think that's going to happen. So
Okay.
Again, I don't think the Big Ten and the SEC are as buddy as Ted Cruz wants to make him out to
Yes.
be in his fanfic that he's writing.
He's using a lot. He's painting things with a wide brush. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Bob Swanger, member for 26 freaking months. Good to have you here, Bob. Thank you so much for Penn State Nittany Lions in the house. Hey, everyone. I love you, Bomber. I love you too, Bob. Bob and I had another very righteous discussion on my show on Wednesday night. It was a lot of fun, and I always appreciate conversation. I'm only right most of the time. That's all I'm going to say.
Absolutely. Thanks for being a member for 26 months,
I know
Bob
it.
Swanger.
Let's go.
Wow, winning. I'm sorry, winning. Oops, winning.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Bob. We appreciate you. Mick Stevens, go Frogs. That would be the TCU Horned Frogs in the house. Good to have you here, Mick. Let's see. The other guy, Daniel says, great hat, Moen. So there you go. You paid that off, Moen. Let's go down here to more. See if we can get Stephen Vitt sent me a text today, Moen. He would like a copy of the Ohio fight song. Is there a way that you could get that to him?
Yeah, we can put that on the board, Stephen. I'll make a note of it, and then these guys will have to remind me that I made a note of it.
Okay. Okay, there you go. You made a note of it. Stephen Vitt says, how we doing tonight, guys? Good to have you here, Stephen. Keep up that good work on your channel, man. You're doing good stuff. Jose saying, and I don't know what that is. It's sword.
It's fight
peace,
on, baby.
peace.
That's some
Fight on. Okay. All right. Sorry. Didn't understand that. Fergie, FF18 Buffs in the house saying every evening, boys, let's go Buffs. He also contributes around here, helps us with stuff we talk about and whatnot. Good to have you here, Fergie. Also, thank you for being a member of the College Football Mafia family, long-standing member. And college football peak around the corner, Greg Flugar in the house saying, hey, going Golden Gophers, California Golden Bears, Notre Dame Golden Domers, and Tulsa Golden Hurricanes should leave FBS and form new subdivision called the Gold Division. What do you guys think about that one?
I think this one's for Greg right here. Look, Goldie dance down there. Goldie right there for Greg.
I think Jack. I think you guys should have Jack Nicholas as your commissioner, and then you can have a Golden Bear as the commissioner of the Gold Division.
I am all for a Golden Division in college football. I think that we could definitely work with that, right? Are this UCF? Are they golden something too? Maybe not.
They're the Knights, but the Gold Knights are confused with them, the hockey squad with the Knights.
Oh, okay. UCF. All right. Okay. Yeah. Morris Simmons, checking in. He always helps us on our channel. We always love having him as a member of the College Football Mafia family, saying hello, everyone. Go Noles. Another Florida State in the house. We've got some good reps for schools we don't always see a lot of people from. Trojan Fight, another member, I think a new member of the College Football Mafia family. Thank you so much for being here, Trojan Fight. USC going to turn it around this year? I'm praying
USC's
for you.
Gonna be great this year.
I think USC is going to be pretty good. Moen, what do you think about USC's chances this year?
I think they'll do pretty well. By the way, Trojan Fight, I'm supporting the Big 12 in baseball right now. I'm a Big 10 guy. I'm an Ohio State fan, but I have to support my two favorite Big 12 teams, West Virginia and the Kansas Jayhawks.
You misspoke. I think it was Utah and BYU.
Right. Moen, you podcast with the Utah and BYU guy. How are you going to do this to us, man?
Because I live close to Morgantown. I love Morgantown, West Virginia.
Hey, look, it's all in your heart anyway.
The Kansas fans have embraced me in my Moen ways, and they've given me the Jayhawk seal of approval. So,
I love it.
They embraced me. I've got to take it.
Oh, hey, take it and run. Definitely. What's happening, Big 12 guys? That's what he said there. Thank you so much, friends. Caleb Ramirez. Hi, everyone. Go Bucks. Caleb checking in for the Ohio State Buckeyes in the house. Also a valuable member of the College Football Mafia family. MBM checking in earlier in the show. We appreciate that, MBM, longstanding member of the College Football Mafia family. Grand Moff Petitti and Darth Sankey versus Jedi Masters Yormark and Phillips. Fight to the death. This Sith rebel thing isn't going to go away, I guess.
It just fits Petitti as a Grand Moff, though.
No.
Yeah, it does.
If they were dark side, they'd both be Darths. It'd be Darth Petitti, and Sankey would be the understudy.
There is no chance Petitti's a Darth, man. He's definitely a Moff. he's a Moff all the way, man.
Okay. All right. Let's get a few more in here. Good comment, NBM. It's good to see you here tonight. Lee, sorry, I passed one here. I hadn't seen Lee, 65 in the house, also a newer member of the College Football Mafia family. Thank you so much for being here, Lee. We appreciate you. I just checked in to say thank you, College Football Mafia, for the gifted. How cool is that, Lee?
You're welcome. We appreciate
awesome.
That.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we like when people thank us for stuff. Yeah, that's neat. Thank you so much, Lee. You're welcome to it, and let us know how we did. Watch our videos and hang around. We love to have you. Evil Badger, the Ryan Willie in the house checking out, says on Wisconsin. Ryan's doing okay, right, Moen?
Yeah, we kind of had our little talk today. We were talking about how no fun it is to be an adult.
It is.
Sometimes that's the truth, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely
the truth,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Mama Duck, Clemson Tigers. Now, there's a combination. Mama Duck, Clemson Tigers. That's a great name. That's almost as good as Go Black 45. I like this one, too. Wow, recognize a lot of these names. First time watching the Mafia family. Good to have you here.
Welcome
Thank
in.
you so much.
Yeah,
welcome in.
Let me see if I can pull this one off for you.
Okay.
This is going to be a tough one, but I think I can do it. Mama Duck. So.
Yeah. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Right into the tiger.
I love it.
Mo.
Very good, Moen. Good driving. Good job. Thanks for being here, Mama Duck. I hope you stick around, and if you're watching on YouTube, which you are, hit that subscribe button, man. We love to have you here. BYU football. That would be Shonsky in the house saying we hear this about USC every year. That's true. UCLA is the worst. I mean, at least USC has something. UCLA. I don't know. All right, that's it. Very nice. Thank you. You got a shout out there, Moen.
Let's go.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to get to a video right now. Let's see if I can bring this thing up here.
Is this
did that?
Teddy?
Okay, so this was like a 2.5 minute, but I'm just going to play the first 30 seconds, okay? You guys tell me if you can hear the audio. It should be fixed.
There's only a handful of powerhouses that generate and can dominate football. And so if we don't act, I think within 5 years, we will see 30 to 50 colleges that have a football program, and they'll basically be an NFL.
Yeah.
And the rest of the schools, their programs will be obliterated. And there are a lot of reasons that's tragic. One is just sports brings us together. Sports is so much fun. Look, we're divided on so many issues today. We scream at each other. We're like, it really is hard to find common ground. And yet you can go cheer on your alma mater, and you can be there with people of different parties, people of different races, people of different religions, and you're all standing together. That's really important.
I'm going to cut it there. That was a fantastic quote. Now, obviously, the Super League stuff, you and I don't necessarily want to hear that. But Ted Cruz has been fairly well vilified the last few days. He and Cantwell have not done a good job pre-selling this and then just dropping it on the Big Ten, just dropping it on the SEC in public, put them in a corner. I don't like the way that happened, but their bill, and I said this Wednesday night, their bill is the best thing we've seen for college sports. It's the best thing we've seen. The SCORE Act was a piece of garbage. Anything else that's come out has not even been close to having any popular support. This is one that actually some people can, and we'll talk about it later, some of the things that are in it. But what do you guys think about that one quote from Ted Cruz? By the way, I posted the link for that video.
Yeah, it's true. What's going to happen if there is a FBS plus or another breakaway type and everything? It's
Yeah.
going to disincentivize investment in programs that aren't involved in that. And it's going to slowly erode the football teams and the sports and the culture. So it's true, guys. Like, I think that we need to at least admit that that part is true. That this is the repercussions of it. But the question is, does it really matter? And like to the power brokers right now, and like ask Moan about that. Does Moan really care about anything? Like, Moan, like from the Big Ten's perspective, like you care about yourself, you care about your conference mates, but you don't have like the view of college football or stewarding college football at all in your perspective, right? Isn't that the understanding? Like you're stewarding your conference, but forget kind of everything else.
Well, I think that's true of any sovereignty. And if I knew we were going to have a Ted Cruz clip, I'd have worn my muck boots to get through the bullshit. You know, but yeah, that of course Ohio State should steward itself for Ohio State, and then its conference, and then college football. There's an order of importance, I think. And I think a school has to look out for itself first, its conference second, and then college football.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with both of you. The one thing I wanted to get is everybody focused at the beginning of the video when he was talking about the 30 to 50 super league, super whatever you want to call that next iteration of a smaller number of schools. The thing that I want people to focus on, and he has college football nailed, right? College football is about the one or maybe two places in the entire country where people of political the separation of religious distinctions of these other things can go someplace for 3 hours, and we don't have riots like they have in England, right, or in Europe when they have these problems come up. And in America, it is one of the few things that we can do together and have people not eat themselves alive and have conversations about that. You can have big schools hosting small schools. You can't have big schools going to small schools. They really need to lean into that thing, because I think the spirit is where we're at right now.
Well, yeah, like why would they? I am with you, and like we would like that, but like that's the position of like the outsiders looking in. But what's in it for them? And that's the question right now. And like, if you can't have a clear like what's in it for them, like why would they do it? Then the only thing you have is court. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, eventually.
That's where we're at.
Yeah, it could be there. The next one I want to get to is Tim Brando, and I'm going to read this, but I got to post his link. This came off of the runaway comment that we got from Nick Saban, and we're going to talk about Nick Saban and his hypocrisy here in a minute. But let me get this up here so that we don't take other people's stuff. We always share it. This is Tim Brando. And I'm just going to read it. I'd say 65 to 70% of this bill is exactly what's needed, and much credit to Saban foe for taking the time to deliver accordingly. The part that's problematic and will likely upset the SEC and the Big Ten is when it comes to enforcement not being theirs but written into the bill. Cruz and Cantwell wrote that portion of the bill, and to get the bill through, that was, in my opinion, a good idea. However, we shouldn't be surprised that the SEC and Big Ten are against that aspect of the bill. Here's a conundrum, though. If you want to govern and enforce rules yourself, but need the antitrust exemptions you get from to get college football where it needs to be, you got to give up something. If they get 60 votes and Cruz believes he can find them, he and his handful of Democrats will get them what's needed to guardrails, but it'll mean that Greg Sankey always said we need congressional help for years will be another quote that meant very little in the end. And I'll just tag in mine on top of that. There was a later comment that he made that he can get over 90 votes for something that says something needs to be done. They need to settle on what that could look like. But definitely there's a lot of want for change out in the world. What do you guys think about what Tim Brando's saying?
Go ahead, Mon.
Yeah, listen, nobody's saying people don't have to give up something, but the Big Ten and the SEC aren't going to give up their sovereignty. That's not acceptable. I'm sure you can find a way for the SEC and the Big Ten to join in with you, but if it involves yanking away their sovereignty, and Cantwell and Cruz both said they're not taking that part out of the bill, then it's a no-go. It's absolutely a no-go. We're not going to give up our sovereignty as a conference to allow somebody else to get a little further ahead in life. It's not fair. Those who would sacrifice liberty for safety end up with neither. The Big Ten and the SEC are not going to give up sovereignty.
What do you think about that, Ute?
I guess like trying to define that, I actually studied up on this a lot more before the show and everything. I've got a different perspective than I've kind of heard from different takes and everything. And Moan, like, what sovereignty are you giving up? Like, because my understanding is there's not a lot you're really giving up in the bill and stuff. You don't have to pull your immediate rights, and it's just you can't expand anymore, right? Is that what you're?
But basically, it says you don't have the right to free association. You don't get to choose who's in your conference, who's out of your conference. Basically, it's telling the Big Ten that they cannot do what's best for their conference and for their teams. If
My
expansion,
understanding. Go ahead. Sorry.
if expansion is on the table, it's on the table. It's not a situation. Again, all due respect to the ACC, Florida State and Clemson sued you because they want to leave.
Yeah.
USC and UCLA came to the Big Ten.
Yes.
This was not a situation where they're just going out there and saying, we're taking this one, we're taking that one. These people are coming to them. Well, so if the Big Ten decides, well, we want to add Notre Dame, well, you can't do that because it says you can't expand. It says you guys are stuck at 18 and you just deal with it, which is why I came out last week and I said immediately add Utah and Miami. Why wait for this legislation to even get through?
Wait, you just did that to make you feel good? Utah and Miami? Utah's
I did
nowhere
that
on that list. I don't know
I
what you're
did
saying.
that because, one, I think the Big Ten goes to 24 and you need more West Coast schools. Utah
it's not
has
a West Coast school.
It's a Western school.
Okay.
Utah has private equity money. They can pay to get out of the Big 12.
Not yet. Wait till the end of the
when
month.
they get their private equity money.
If
And
they
Miami's a private school. They don't have to worry about any state regulations.
Yeah, Miami makes sense. Utah makes absolutely no sense when Stanford and Cal are out there.
Again, maybe Stanford and Cal don't want to come. I know Utah would be willing to come, and they'd
To
be
the
willing
Big
to
Ten. To the Big
take a
Ten.
price.
I think they might have learned their lesson, but I could be wrong. They could turn them down. I don't see that happening.
But go
Okay.
on, Moan. What was that?
Yeah,
So
again,
yeah.
if this bill even starts to get legs, I think the Big Ten and the SEC should just both expand before it passes to grandfather it in. And then
You're assuming, though, that they would just sit back and not do anything with that. There's other ways that they can control what outcomes are. These are educational edifices.
they are
These
educational edifices.
These are organizations that get billions of dollars from the federal government every day.
Absolutely.
They're
And
not separated from even if they're private schools.
They're not going to
separated
take
from the
away
federal
federal
government.
grants over a football association.
I don't know that that's true.
I do.
You have
Listen,
no way to know that when it's been threatened by senators who actually can control purse strings. You think they're just saying that just to piss people off?
Get it through the Senate and the House, and we'll see. It's just listen. The NIH is going to cut the biggest cancer checks to the Big Ten schools because they've spent the better part of 30 to 40 years building a gigantic cancer research consortium.
That's absolutely true.
So
I'm not denying that.
It's like Colorado. They're going to get huge defense federal grants because they've set up huge aerospace engineering programs at the University of Colorado and all their sister campuses. So again, I don't think the federal grant thing.
No, that's not the only thing. That was one example. There's several things that they can do to control the access and to stop something bigger happening. Just because this bill gets shot down doesn't mean they won't come up with something else. There's a reason this hasn't happened up till now. There hasn't been enough political will nationwide to sustain. I've always said it, Moen, you want to leave, and I'm not saying you do, but if the SEC and Big Ten really want to leave, write a 2-line bill saying, can they leave or can they not leave? And then leave it up. See how much political will you get to support you guys doing your own thing. There isn't. If there was, you would have done it.
Again, I don't think the Big Ten even was looking to do this
and I'm
until
not saying
this
they
bill
are.
came out.
I think
now
they're
the SEC
put in a corner to say something.
I will give you that. The SEC was openly talking about it. They were discussing it. I don't think it was even in the Big Ten's lexicon until this bill dropped and said, you are basically losing your sovereignty. And now the Big Ten is basically got a gun to their head, and it's like, well, you either get shot or you shoot. So I think the Big Ten is probably going to have to look at a breakaway.
Yeah, with what? How? What apparatus is built to be able to do that?
Well, I think they'll have to build the apparatus, obviously.
Yeah. Go ahead and finish your thought. I'll give you the last word on that. It's your question.
I think this is right on the money too, and like a worthy discussion point. So Greg mentions in the chat, what is BYU and Utah giving up in this bill? What is at risk for BYU and Utah? What skin in the game is there for Texas Tech putting a risk in this bill? And there's nada. And I think that we have to admit that there's not a lot that the Big 12's given up at all in this bill. And certainly, if we want to look at the biggest and losers of the bill, based on my take, the G6 is the biggest winner of all, because they're about to get completely relegated, left behind and everything. And this makes it so that's more difficult. So it keeps things intact more. I think the Big 12 and the ACC are probably the next biggest winners, and probably the Big 12 more than the ACC too, because it keeps the Big 12 intact and you're not going to get schools poached from you, right? And like Moan's saying, sovereignty and stuff, this limits the Big 12 and the SEC from going and poaching ACC and Big 12 teams. That's the big caveat there. That's the big stick, is expansion basically stops with this bill in place. And like I have to admit though, from like, the Utah BYU side, you're not giving up anything. But like the truth is, you don't really have a lot of leverage in this negotiation right now anyway, based on the structure and how things are set up. And so when you really don't have any leverage, how do you really negotiate? You don't really, just work with your legislation and try to get it to stick through a bill and just try to get this thing to stop, because there's no way to stop it. The Big Ten and the ACC can't stop it, guys. This bill's not going to go through. The SEC and the Big Ten are going to get what they want. I'm just happy that some resistance is being put up. Like, I mean, you don't really have any other leverage anyway. You're not going to, Big Ten and SEC aren't going to agree on anything. Why would they? They've got all the cards right now, and they've been pulling that for a long time and stuff. There's no reason for them to capitulate on anything, on zero, zilch, right? So what do you have as leverage for the Big Ten, Big 12, and ACC? And all you can do is just prevent this from ruining the entire sport to benefit the 32 schools that are threatening to go NCAA plus or break away. That's my whole view of this whole situation and everything. There is no leverage outside of legal leverage, state leverage, law, and just preventing it from happening. There's no negotiating leverage at all. Utah and BYU are giving nothing up because they've got no leverage. That's the answer right there.
I agree with that. And I would say my challenges with the bill are still not taking care of the athletes like I think the Democrats would want them to do. So the chances that this bill gets passed is still minimum, very, very small. There's too much political will just to drive change without having any ideas. So there's a good chance nothing's going to come up with this, but it is generating a lot of conversation. At the end of the day, I think that's really the thing we need to talk about. We do have some super chats in here. Let's get to those. Fergie in the house again, $2 super chat saying, so according to Star Wars, are we at Order 66, Moen?
I don't think so, but I think, listen, you're getting close. It's getting closer. Yeah, not a good idea to target the Big Ten and the SEC. And I saw there was another person in chat, and I missed the chat. I didn't start it, but here it is, Mark's Holy Grail. We'll get to that. But basically, he was saying that the Big Ten's been planning this for a long time. I'm not saying the Big Ten hasn't been game strategy every possibility out, but I don't think the Big Ten was looking to break away. I think the SEC was looking to break away. The Georgia people said as much, but I don't know that the Big Ten really was. But I think once this bill came up, and now you have Cruz and Cantwell both saying, we're not removing that part of the bill that targets you. What do you do? I mean, you've got a gun to your head. You can either get shot or shoot them.
Well, is it a real gun, though? Because I don't think any one of the three of us think that this bill is going to pass.
I don't think the bill's going to pass either, but just the mere fact that they're being that staunch about that clause in it. The Big Ten and SEC have said they're going to send some revisions that they think would be a good idea into it,
which I think is cool. Yeah,
which is great.
That's cool.
But
Yeah,
when you have the two co-sponsors come out and say, well, that part of the bill is a no-go and it's staying,
right.
what's the point of even offering revisions?
Well,
You're basically saying that there's portions of the bill that are 100% untouchable.
Can I just something simple? All these people want to be reelected in November. They come out and they can support a bill, be very loud and boisterous on something that will never pass because they want to appease people at Boise State. They want to appease people in the San Fernando Valley in California. They want to get to people who are otherwise underrepresented in larger college football areas. But these House Democrats and these Republicans, they want to get reelected.
Yeah,
so
the
this
House
could be as much that as anything else.
The House, absolutely. The Senate, it's every 33 seats every 2 years are up for re-election. So I know John Husted in Ohio is up for election. He's never won an election for Senate. He was appointed when Vance became vice president. His office has told me they will vote against it. Bernie Moreno's office has also told me they will vote against it.
Does not surprise me, in the very least. Evil Badger Ryan Willie, $5 super chat. Badgers in 2026, Bull win. Badgers in 2027.
Badgers.
PFT berth.
Ooh.
Give him that sound.
What do you guys? He's calling his shot. Ryan's calling his shot. What do you think?
Give him his evil laugh. Is that with Luke Fickell as the head coach, Ryan? Let us know.
That's pretty funny. Let's see. Becky Go Huskies again. Super member for 27 months. No Big Ten expansion without FIU and Cuban sandwiches. What do you think?
This is why I want Miami so bad, Becky. I do enjoy a good Cuban sandwich.
All right. Kenneth Maynard, $10 super chat saying, not being funny, but if you want to end this entire thing, invite Texas Tech to the P2 now. Cody will flip and join the Sith and Emperor Feinbaum in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
He would betray the Rebel Alliance anyway.
Yes, definitely. No doubt about it.
Kenneth, that's exactly what would happen. Yes, you're right. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I appreciate the super chat, Kenneth, and I think that new profile pic, put that profile pic back up here.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, what is that profile pic?
That is
Florida.
A Gator in the state of Florida
Gator.
in a UF. That is a very slick-looking profile pic.
Yeah,
I saw that on Greg's show earlier, and I thought, wow, that's really a really good University of Florida profile pic. So kudos to you on that, sir. I will let you cook with that Gator in Florida. Here you go.
Let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook. I said let him
cook.
Love it. Thank you, Moen. Thank you. All right, another one. MBM $5 super chat. Who is realignment if Jabba? Who in realignment is Jabba the Hutt, and who is Salacious Crumb? I need to know.
Here we go. Jabba the Hutt has to be Brett Bielema. Has to be. You know,
what about what schools Jabba the Hutt in realignment though? Like who's
what school?
It's got to be like Florida State, right?
No, I would say it's Michigan because it's a crime lord. It's a crime lord, and Michigan is all about committing crimes. So we would say that.
All right,
Salacious Crumb is going to be one of Michigan's cronies. So probably.
It's got to be like one of the smaller schools in the big. It's Northwestern, that's for sure.
Yeah, Northwestern's got a little too much. Probably Michigan State would be Salacious Crumb.
Salacious Crumb. Okay. Another article I wanted to get to. This is the reply from the Congressional Black Caucus, which basically runs the House of Representatives. Nothing can really get passed without them involved in some sort. The Congressional Black Caucus called on Senate Commerce Committee leaders Cruz and Cantwell to pause the Protect College Sports Act until college athletic leaders meaningfully engage in concerns about attacks on Black political representation. There was another article that said they wanted to protect athletes and athlete rights. So again, I asked the question, can anything be passed in the Senate, then maybe the House, without some of these major polling entities?
No way. You have to have them on board. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely
We're
agree.
far away, guys, from any type of bill getting passed. We're so far away. That's my take, at least. But you need all the support. You need almost everybody on board with this. So, yeah, that's my take.
Moen?
Yeah, I think the Big Ten and the SEC comprise or comprise 26 total states. They cover 26 total states currently. Going to be very hard when you've got a House of Representatives convincing them to vote for something that's going to negatively impact the Big Ten and the SEC. Alabama, especially. I can't see Tuberville coming out. I can't see all the House of Representative people from Alabama coming out. But listen, I think, again, once you basically say you're not taking a provision out of the bill, you want feedback, but then you won't take the feedback.
Yeah.
I think you pretty much shot yourself in the foot, and you've turned this into a hardline thing where the SEC and the Big Ten are going to do what they got to do, and I think the smaller conferences, in particular the Big 12, are going to suffer as a result of that.
You?
Agreed.
Okay. I'm going to do one more, and then we are going to do comments all the rest of the night, at least until Moen kicks me out. This is Ross Dellinger. I'll post the link. This is a joint. Just happens to be the one that was printed on the background for the SEC, but it's a joint announcement that they drafted. I might as well just read it. In a joint statement, the SEC and the Big Ten support a sustainable national framework for college sports, one with an effective transfer portal, clear eligibility standards, and protections and benefits for student athletes. While we appreciate the leadership of Cruz and Cantwell in pursuing these shared goals, we do not support the Protect College Sports Act as drafted. The bill leaves critical issues unresolved. It does not meaningfully preempt the patchwork of state laws or provide the protections needed to make and enforce consistent rules, both essentially and to long-term stability in college athletics. It also shifts ongoing rulemaking to Congress, limiting the ability to adapt quickly as the landscape evolves. Rather than reducing litigation, the bill likely expands it without offering clear alternatives for dispute resolution. Finally, the bill alters the House settlement revenue sharing framework in a way that may result in fewer student athletes receiving direct revenue share payments, and blah, 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 the rest of that. So what's you guys' takeaway by that joint statement from the SEC and the Big Ten?
It's no surprise. It's basically what we're talking about right now. They're not going to support it. The SEC and the Big Ten, they want to expand, guys. They want sovereignty. They want no restrictions, rules on how they operate their conference. And so they will not agree to anything less than that. And in some ways, a lot of ways, I could totally get it. If like your school's in that take, that's a pretty good place to be. And so it makes sense. It's a rational place. That's how like the business world operates too. It's very Darwinian, but that's kind of what we're talking about in college sports today.
Moen, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's good word salad. I mean, it basically says everything you would expect it to say, but this was issued the day prior to Cruz and Cantwell coming out and saying there's things that they absolutely will not change in the bill, but why even bother offering solutions if you're being told that we're not going to accept them? I mean, it's, like saying, well, you failed the test already, but you go ahead and take the test. Okay. I'll make sure that I focus on doing that test.
Okay. Now you can go.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just looking at the comments section, and there's some really funny stuff being said about Salacious Crumb. You guys, Salacious Crumb was Jabba the Hutt's pet. That sat on his shoulder. It was like the was like the Quaguacian
monkey lizard
space. Yeah, it's a monkey lizard, right? Like I forgot the actual Star Wars name, but one of the best characters in Star Wars. I love the conversation. Honestly, it's great.
All right. Very good. Okay, we made it through all the articles I wanted to run. There were 1,000 videos. If you follow us on Twitter, go to our Twitter history. We marked a bunch of good videos and articles between the three of us that you'd really find interesting if you want to just watch those all night long. We're not going to do that the rest of this night, but I want to invite you to do follow us and get involved. Follow everybody in the college football mafia family orbit. And we appreciate you being here tonight. So thank you so much for being here on a big freaking Friday. We're finishing with the headlines a little bit early. So Ute or Moen, do you guys have something you wanted to run through?
You know what? I wanted to get you guys' take, like especially your take, Nate, on like the Utah Otro deal. Like we didn't talk about it much last week and stuff.
Right.
And so what's your thoughts on this? Like, what do you think's actually going on with Utah Otro deal? Just for like 2 minutes.
Everything you said about Utah going balls to the wall, trying to get it done, that's what it's about. There's no doubt about it. If you live in the state of Utah, you don't need to be a genius to understand. They're selling all the decks or all the chairs are off the decks. They're streamlined, just trying to get to the Big Ten. That's the only reason you would do a deal like that. The way it looks like to me is they went to the Big Ten and said, "Hey, if we do this, would this be a good thing or a bad thing?" And we're not saying that they said it was a great thing, but they probably said, yeah, okay, that could be cool, whatever. They're not going to put their heads on the spit to do anything to protect Utah in this venture. But if Utah pulls it off, then I think it's a boon. It's something that you're going to get. I don't think it's going to end up being $500 million. I think it's probably going to be between 3 and 4. But regardless, that's a lot of money. They can improve facilities. They could do some other things that would make them more attractive. Win football games. Go out and spend some money on athletes or whatever you need to do in your recruiting. Maybe have more recruiters, or I don't know what you can do with all the money. But they need to be attractive, and that's some of the ways that they can do it. My feeling on the bill is, this was announced, and the way it was announced to me was like they were going to announce it and push it through the next day. They didn't want this middle period where people could put in their opinions. Auditors can come in and say, oh, wait a second, what's going on here? And this attention that they've received over the last 3 weeks has not been great for the bill. In the state of Utah, we don't have enough water. We have a very high base for collecting salaries, high salary average for people earning money, but we also have the most kids in the country. So we have very disparate ways that we have to spend our money around here. This is one that and I was on record the very first day, if Utah can pull this off and the state of Utah, the legislature, the taxpayers aren't the backstop for any failure, then go for it. You have nothing to lose in that regard. I think if it works, great. If it doesn't, well, you have to take the downside to going with a private capital company. Their layoffs were highly predictable. That's what everybody does. These deals come in, they reorganize the people, they try to hire some back, not all of them, but they bring back usually at a reduced salary, save some more money, make themselves look even that more streamlined. But yeah, that's it. If you guys can pull it off, great. If my taxes don't go up because the federal or the state legislature and the taxpayers aren't on the hook for any additional costs, like what happened with Arizona and Arizona State being bailed out to the tune of almost $52 million a few years ago because they didn't know how to do their capital expenditures. Yeah, I want you to be happy, Ute. I want you guys to do whatever it takes. I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think that's going to do it, but yeah.
It's the swing of all swings. And like, really, the more I looked at this deal, guys, like if Utah doesn't get into Big Ten and they do this deal, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Big trouble.
Yeah.
Like the way the payout structure of this Otro deal, after diving into this, like it is very advantageous for Otro Capital to do this deal.
It's mercenary, right?
It is. Like you never do. You never do this deal unless like you just want like a war chest to try to make that last push, right?
Yeah.
If it gets you in the Big Ten, it's going to be the greatest play in college sports realignment history possibly because of what you gambled. But if you don't get in, it's going to go really bad. So it's the biggest gamble I've ever seen actually after studying the deal. So I was just curious in your take on that.
I want to ask you back a week later, Otro was announced. A week later, SMU come out and said they're going to create their own Mustang coin on Bitcoin or something that's crypto or something like.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? One, it avoids tax. taxes. If it's a crypto thing, they don't generally like paying taxes, those things. So it would need to have a lot of regulation around it. And two, I don't know where the value is.
No, there's no value in like any crypto in my point of view and stuff. It's a really like investment wise, I don't get it. Any crypto based investment, I don't get what they're trying to do there and stuff. It's kind of like a buzzword and stuff. And yeah, it's just it's just like a phony financial product, guys.
That's
so
kind of what
I don't know what
I
they're doing
thought
there.
too. Yeah, and I'm not actually clear where that money was supposed to go, if it was donated. I don't know, but it has an SMU moniker. It's using all SMU formal stuff, so it's the school is participating in this in some way. It just seems like a disaster waiting to happen. Final word on Otro, Moen, or SMU, I guess.
Yeah, Otro, Utah's doing what they can. Again, you got to take that swing. I don't think it's the wrong decision. If you're Utah, you're looking at the pay gap between the Big Ten, the SEC, and the Big 12 and the ACC. You may have to take a lower pay for the first few years, but you got to look at that beyond that. You got to say, okay, we're going to take a hit the first 7 years, but the next 50 years are going to be substantially gainful for us, and we can pay off this private equity money. It's also good that they could have literally a slush fund available to them. Again, if the Big Ten goes silo and says, before we go silo, we need to add more teams, Utah has the money available to where they could get out of the Big Ten or Big 12.
Right.
They could pay the 2 years of exit fee and get out. Miami probably has that money with just the boosters. They could do that. So I don't think it's a terrible idea for Utah. I understand where they're coming from. It is a gamble. I mean, it's not a certainty that you're going to get into
There is no guarantee. Nobody.
There is no guarantee. Absolutely. But everybody is doing something. Utah is not the only one out there. They're the only one out there doing private equity right now. But you've seen Kansas receiving. Duke is definitely out there. They won't shut up.
Yeah.
Kansas got a huge gift from David Booth. So
I look at what Duke's doing and how Utah has been so on their front foot in the same way. And I think it's all the same storyline. Everybody wants to catch
100%.
that train, right? Everybody's trying to get the golden ticket, get on the train. And I think if you're not, what are you doing? Get out of the way. If you're not willing to do what Utah's doing, if you're not willing to do what Duke is doing, then you probably don't deserve to be playing in this next level. Kansas is getting booster money to go in. They've improved their stadium. They've gotten other money to do other things. I know there's other schools that have done the same thing. Everybody needs to step up in this next level, no matter what. This is it. This is it, everybody. If you don't catch it in the next 4 years, you're probably not going to get it. So it's a shot in the dark. But hey, I say if you got it, you might as well take it.
What's Georgia Tech doing, guys? Like, how in the world is Georgia Tech seemingly sitting on their hands right now? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about Georgia Tech.
No, I think that's a good question. I think Georgia Tech has been high on our realignment list when we've talked about schools that could potentially go to the Big Ten. I don't know. They're a research school. They have all kinds of advantages. They have a massive, very wealthy graduate base. I don't get it. Moen, do you have any insight into what 2 years ago, Georgia Tech was everywhere. Now they're not.
Yeah, I would assume probably they either know something or they know nothing.
Okay.
The other problem is you've got Duke out here that is really pushing very, very hard with things that Georgia Tech cannot offer. So they may have just said, well, it's not possible for us to compete, so why go out there and spend assets when we know we can't compete with the Dukes of the world or the Miamis or
let me ask you guys this. What's the disaster flip of the page if things don't go well? Say a breakaway does happen, that is 48 teams, and your school doesn't get in, but you spent the money to improve the facilities. You spent the money to build a new basketball stadium, do all these other things for that golden ticket, and you don't catch it. I mean, that's disaster, right? I mean, you got capital expenditures that will never be paid back. You have no way to get the money back to the boosters. I mean, that's kind of the world we're staring into, right? This abyss.
No doubt about it. It's all in or nothing. If like, and again, going back to like your point, this Ocho Capital deal with Utah, if you don't get in the Big Ten, it's going to be a disaster.
Yeah,
an absolute disaster. And like, and if everyone's spending everything and you don't get in, then like how much focus is your booster profile going to have going forward, right? Like you're going to lose a lot of interest in your sports.
Yeah, no.
But like, here's the thing is like, that's already going to happen. Let's be honest about it. Like if there is a breakaway, it goes to NCAA plus or whatever, then you're relegated. You're done anyway. Do you want the fast death or the slow death? That's the question right there.
Yeah, I'm on record saying the reason that a stadium thing hasn't happened to BYU yet is they want to see that they have that opportunity in that next level. They don't want to put $1 billion into building a new stadium, whatever they need to do for less with the renovations they would have to do to get it up to code, and then find out that football is. I think you would have massive pullback in funding from boosters at BYU, and I think it might just say we're all basketball. I could see that happening. An all or nothing type thing. Anyway, it's bleak. It's bleak.
There's no bleak.
Way to, yeah.
And that's real talk outside of like the power too. That's like what the thoughts are like. And for like the college football lovers that just love live streaming and being with the community and talking college football and stuff, it's just like, my gosh, like it feels pretty desperate, guys. Like
it does.
It does. Like, I know that wouldn't be the stance if you were in like the power two, but like outside the power two, it's like, holy freaking cow. Like what I love might not even exist anymore.
Yeah.
Like that's so disappointing. And like,
it is.
I know, like I'm not getting into this all night again and stuff, but like this whole breakaway stuff, it just smashes me right in the face.
Dispiriting for sure. NBM, another $5 super chat says, who in realignment is Jabba the Hutt and who is, we already did that.
We already did that, but we do owe him a sounder. And I'm
okay, go ahead. Yeah. I grabbed the wrong one. Okay. Sorry. So this was a second chat, but he says, I need to know. So the first time he didn't get his answer. So that's what he wants to know is somebody answer his question. Who in realignment is Jabba the Hutt and who's Salacious Crumb? He wants an answer, guys.
Again, Michigan has to be Jabba the Hutt. He's a crime lord, and Michigan is all about the crime lord game. Salacious Crumb has to be a Michigan crony. I saw in the chat someone put Connor Stallions, and I agree with that.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I agree with that.
Salacious Crumb is Connor Stallions. Yes, absolutely. So that's fantastic. That's a good one. Let's see here. Evil Badger Ryan Willie again. Fickle has been killing it in recruiting. Flipped Mecky Williams from Florida State. Miki?
Let's go.
Mackay.
I don't know who that is. Mackay? Mm-hmm. Okay. Can you tell us anything about that, Moen?
Yeah. Luke Fickle's got money now, and he's actually using it, and they're going out there and getting some people.
Okay.
You know,
Florida State go to Wisconsin. Wow.
Yeah, that was, the athletic director came out, and part of his vote of confidence with Luke Fickle was they were going to give him more money in order to go out there and get the players he needs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Still have to see how this quarterback situation shakes out because he has not had good luck with quarterbacks.
I want Ron Dane back. That's the Wisconsin.
Ron Dane, man.
Yeah.
That's right.
Run over people. Their offensive line could have played for the Seahawks and won some games. Daniel, the other guy, Gax, gifting 5 new memberships to the College Football Mafia family. Go ahead, Moen.
Big hype. Let's do a little on Wisconsin for Badger first.
Let's go.
And then for Daniel Gygax, I took off the West Virginia hat, but I'll play the song.
There you go. West Virginia. I love it. So go ahead.
Let me tell you who got these. These went to KC3, Rob Devick, Secret Agent, Eagle Eye, Mr. Dig Dug. Going way back in the past for that. For Dig Dug.
I love it.
You all received memberships courtesy of our friend Daniel Gygax.
Daniel Gygax.
There we go.
Thank him in the chat. Keep those memberships rolling. We appreciate you, Daniel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daniel.
Good luck to West Virginia, bud.
Yeah, man, playing some baseball. West Virginia's got a little thing going there for baseball. I looked at it a couple of years ago, man. They're not bad over there. Kansas, you switched to the Kansas hat, or we're in the regional finals, or was that last week?
Super regionals.
Super regional. I forget baseball does that. Okay, yeah, thanks. Super regionals. Good luck. Fergie, FF18 Bus, again, $5 super chat. Are we all clear that Utah has no special exit clause out of the Big 12? Yes, that only lasted 1 year. Just want that to be clear. I think that any kind of exit fee is such a waste.
Nate, no, that's actually not true. It's actually legit. Like they didn't sign the 99-year membership agreement. What that means? Can I just identify what that means? Because there's a lot of misconceptions. I've studied this.
Okay, maybe we're talking about two different things then. Go ahead.
So there's two things that bind the Big 12 schools together, and that is the grant of rights, which is negotiated every media cycle. So it's 5 to 7 years. Okay. And then there's also a 99-year membership agreement, which is a separate document. 2 documents, governing documents for the Big 12. Utah did not sign the 99-year membership agreement, which is applicable forever. They didn't sign that. Everybody else that went into the conference signed it. Everybody in the conference has signed it other than Utah. Utah did sign the grant of rights. So if Utah were to leave early out of the Big 12, they'd owe 2 years of distribution. So you're getting distributions roughly $32 million a year. You'd pay about $62 million if it was 2 years before the media rights deal ended. The Gore ends in 2031. Okay. So Utah, here's the thought process. If Utah gets out, if Utah got out of the Big 12 before 2030, say that it's in the next 2 years, right? Get out 2028 timeline. You do pay out the grant of rights for the Big 12. So you pay around $62 million. See if that can be negotiated. But there's not an additional fee for the 99-year membership agreement that everybody else would be on the hook for. And what cost that would be, that's up for legal negotiation. That would go to the courts to see what pricing on that would be and stuff. So Utah just has one less thing that they have to kind of jump through. But they didn't sign that. And so that is an interesting part of how they, joined the Big 12. At least that was something they negotiated.
I thought that was a rumor that they didn't sign it at all. That they
it's real.
Have 1 year out. Okay, I'll have to look at that then. I'll look at it. Yeah, I believe you. Yeah, I obviously that was 2 years ago, so I might be remembering it wrong. So you might.
But they have to pay the Gore fees. I mean, the Gore you have to buy out of the grant of rights, right? And the grant of rights recycles every media deal.
So I guess Fergie, you just heard his answer. I haven't done the research on that in a bit. I thought it was a year, but I could be wrong. So yeah. Anyways, very cool. Thanks for the super chat.
Let's have a little Colorado fight song for Fergie, though.
Let's go. Let's do it. I love it. Thank you so much, Fergie. We appreciate you, man. All right, before I get out of here, I'm going to do a couple previews. So the last 3 weeks, Jeremiah Dickey, the AD for Boise State, has been the busiest guy on the planet. I think a lot of this stuff he couldn't talk about, and he kept putting me off because they were building to this Cantwell Cruz bill. He's been a big supporter of that, tried to help build that thing. And so now I'm supposed to have him next Wednesday. So I'm putting that on the calendar. Everybody book it for next Wednesday. We'll have Jeremiah Dickey, the AD at Boise State University. Should be really interesting considering he helped write this bill that came out. But on Tuesday night, out of the blue, Daniel's last name. Sorry. Kelly, thank you. Danielle Kelly, the Assistant Attorney General for antitrust things at the state of Florida. Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. She wants to come and talk again. We met a couple weeks ago. She got really excited about this bill and wants to talk about it. So I'm going to throw her down on Tuesday night. So it'll be Tuesday night. We'll have Danielle Kelly. And then we will have Wednesday. We'll have Jeremiah Dickey. So this next week should be pretty busy here at the College Football Mafia. You guys have anything else you want to review before I go?
Guys, we're less than 40 subs away from 6,000.
Let's go.
We're 34 subs away from 6,000. So if you're watching this or you're an ex watching this, come over, help us get to 6,000, build this community, best community on YouTube right here. So let's go 34 away, guys, 6K.
I love it. Moen?
Yeah, sovereignty forever. Autonomy forever.
Sovereign.
Freedom,
Okay.
freedom,
All right.
freedom.
Okay. Everybody have a great weekend. Appreciate you. Make sure you give a loved one a kiss or a hug or a text. Let them know you're thinking about them. Ute, Moen, as always, it's great to see you. And I will see everybody next week. I want to say peace out and go Cougars. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Take care. So with MBM super chats, about Salacious Crumb. I like indulge me, Moen, just for 1 minute, okay? Indulge me. So what do you think about this? If you want to see the real king, like Salacious Crumb of realignment, I think we've got our answer right here.
I like how he's able to use the force to just levitate that hat in front of his head.
This one's for MBM, but yeah, if you want to know the real Salacious Crumb of realignment, it's the Oklahoma State folks right here.
And I stand by the fact I think Oklahoma State is an expansion candidate for the SEC.
I think so too. I do, but like they would be a little bit more, probably like in the 24 range, 23, 24. If you go to 24 schools.
Yeah. I mean, if you went bigger than normal. All right. Well, we're resetting. Nate is not here. Now we party. And everybody knows we like to party hard around here. I want to thank everybody for the super chat so far. I want to thank Daniel Gygax for the gifted membership. New members, Fergie, Evil Badger with the super chat. Becky Go Huskies member for 27 months. Thank you, Becky. Kenneth Maynor with the super chat. Another one from MBM. Another one from Evil Badger. Another one from Fergie. And then we had Daniel Gygax gifting the 5 memberships. Thank you, guys. Thank you for that. We do appreciate all that. Now let's talk about the Cruz-Cantwell bill, or as Buford T. Justice would call it.
And that's nothing but pure and simple old-fashioned communism.
Which is exactly what the bill is. You pull the Tarletons out. Get the Tarletons out. I didn't have time to make a Tarleton ad tonight. I'm sorry. I was getting the soundboard all situated and worked. So thank you for that. Let's get to some.
Drop it to us straight. Mon. Exactly. Like, what do you think about this bill? Like, what's the future? Once this bill gets turned down and we're moving on, what's the future here? How you see it really? Real talk here. How does it impact Big 10, Big 12, ACC, SEC, and G6? I want to know it all. Give us all the details. We got to know all of it on Moen's mind.
Okay. I talked to some people this week, so I'm trying to remember what I can and can't say. Okay, I'm just not going to say any of it because I forget what I'm not allowed to say. I think, listen, it's not a good idea when the Big Ten and the SEC say we're going to put stuff forward, and your reply is, well, we're not taking this out. I think you have to be open and receptive. I think that's the best thing you could possibly do. I think Senators Cruz and Cantwell, by their justification that, well, we're not taking this out, and you're just going to have to deal with it, shows that it's not good faith. It's not good faith negotiations between them, between Cody Campbell. I think Greg Sankey, as much as I dislike Greg Sankey, I think he made a great point. It was very interesting at the hearing that we had this week that you had Cody Campbell, you had executives from Smash Capital who had pitched a Super League idea at one point. You had all these people that had pitched this, all these lobbyists were sitting there, but there was nobody representing the Big Ten or the SEC there. Absolutely none. You had Nick Saban, and he had the nerve to get up there and talk about how NIL has ruined college football. Nick Saban paid kids off when he was a coach at Alabama. Jimbo Fisher came out and said, don't get into it with me because I know where the bodies are buried, Nick. And suddenly Nick dropped his attitude in regards to Jimbo Fish when Fish was at A&M shortly after that. So, Nick Saban, hypocrite. Gordon Gee gets up there and he says, well, I don't even think students in the lexicon of some of these universities anymore. Gordon Gee did more to damage the academic reputation of West Virginia than probably any chancellor in its history. You know, basically taking programs off, taking degrees off, and, you know, basically making it very difficult to lure out-of-state kids to come to Morgantown, which is a shame because I've mentioned it before. I have family that used to be a professor there at West Virginia University. And, you know, it was at one time considered a very good academic university. You had a lot of kids from Appalachia would go there. A lot of kids from Southern Ohio would go to West Virginia. You had kids from Kentucky would come over and go to West Virginia. So for Gordon Gee to come out there and talk about anything students, Gordon Gee can just eat a dick. I'm sorry. You're old, Gordon. You weren't a good president at Ohio State. You basically said Jim Tressel could fire you, and then came back and said it was a joke when it clearly wasn't a joke. You knew Jim Tressel could have fired you. You know, hypocrite. Teresa Gould gets up there, the current commissioner of the Pac-12, and talks about how the Pac-12 got picked apart and woe is me. This is the same Pac-12 that she is in charge of that picked apart the Mountain West Conference and then challenged them on a legally binding contract. Say, we don't want to pay the poaching fees because we were in a bad spot when we signed the contract. So we don't want to pay the poaching fees. Meanwhile, these are the same two schools that insisted Stanford, Cal, Oregon, Washington, Utah, the Arizonas, Colorados, USC, UCLA abide by the contract till the end of the Pac-12. And what does she do? She gets up there and says, well, I don't want to see something happen like what happened to the Pac-12. You just freaking did it. You just gutted the Mountain West Conference and put them on life support. How can you get up there and say you don't want to see something like that happen after you just did it? You did it. You know, and I had several arguments on Twitter this week from people telling me how the Big Ten and the SEC are the big, bad, evil guys who destroyed conferences. Conference killers. Blood all over them. And I have to bring this up. The Big 12 only exists. They killed the Southwestern Conference. They left SMU, TCU, Houston looking for new homes. They were basically homeless. They got relegated, what you would call relegated. They got moved down to G conferences, out of an autonomy conference because of the Big 8. So for the Big 12 to sit there and talk about killing conferences, you guys were doing it long before the Big 10 was. You want to talk about the ACC? What did they do to the Big East? They took their two best football brands in Miami and Virginia Tech, came back a year later, and took the Syracuse and Pitt as well. They basically completely destabilized the Big East. The Big East went away. A storied football conference went away. It became a basketball-only conference because of the ACC. And now the ACC wants to say, well, you're targeting us, and that's not right. You targeted the Big East before anybody targeted you. You targeted them. So how? It's literally 4 killers standing in a room and 2 killers lecturing on how their kill was more righteous. They're literally standing there with bloody knives going, yeah, we killed this one, but you did this and that's wrong. You killed the pack. Well, the Big 12 helped kill the pack, by the way. Colorado getting poached by the Big 12 made it possible for the Big 10 and Oregon and Washington to work out a deal, which ultimately led to the Big 12 getting Utah and both the Arizona schools. So the Big 12 also destabilized the Pac-12. It wasn't just the Big 10 doing it. You guys helped. And then the ACC came in and cleaned up with Stanford and Cal and the SMU debacle at the behest of Notre Dame, who isn't even a full football member. They basically got to come in and dictate that you're taking Stanford, Cal, and SMU, and when you're three of your biggest schools were against it, Florida State, Clemson, UNC said no. And instead of saying, you know what, you guys are our biggest brands, we respect that, and we're not going to move forward with this, they basically leveraged North Carolina State to get North Carolina State to flip and allow it to happen. And that was all at the behest of Jack Swarbrick, who was the former AD at Notre Dame, who happens to be the current executive at Smash Sports, who happened to be represented at the congressional hearing. The only person that was not a hypocrite on that panel was the young man, the young football player, and I think he did a very good job of representing himself, of representing his viewpoints. I thought he did very well, but I thought everybody else on there was a tremendous hypocrite. And Pete Bavacqua, huge hypocrite. He basically says, I want a super league, but I don't want a super league. And nobody ever even thought, and this is strange, we've got revenue pooling in here. Why didn't anybody think to ask Pete Bavacqua, are you going to pool Notre Dame's revenue? Because they already knew the answer. The answer was no. They're not going to pool Notre Dame's revenue. They're absolutely not willing to do that. But they're willing to do whatever it takes to keep Notre Dame independent.
Okay.
All right. I'm done ranting.
Okay. So what would you do if you were truly just a Kansas Jayhawk fan and not an Ohio State fan in the current circumstance? You're not an Ohio State fan. You're not a Big Ten man. You're a Big 12 man at this moment, right? What do you do given what you know, given what we're talking about? What do you think and what do you do?
I think you have to reach out to the leadership of your conference, which is Brett Yormark. I think it did the Big 12 and ACC no favors when they came out and endorsed this without at least seeing what the Big 10 and the SEC were going to do. I think that was a bad move. I think they probably should have got a hold of Yormark and said, hey, let's talk to the Big 10 and the SEC first. I think a lot of these problems could have been resolved between the conferences. I think everybody could have sat down and maybe talked this out a little bit, come up with some kind of legislation they all could get behind. And I just think I just don't think it was a good idea. I don't think it was a good idea for the Big 12. I don't think it was a good idea for the ACC. Again, yes, some of the teams are going to be pulled from the ACC, and there's a possibility teams are going to be pulled from the Big 12. There's nothing that's going to stop that. That's going to happen. Florida State and Clemson do not want to be there. And I know you won't say it, but I'll say it. Utah and Kansas would prefer to be in the Big 10.
Utah's a Big 12 team.
It's a Big 12 team. I 100% agree with you. Right now, they're a Big 12 team. But if the Big 10 invite came tomorrow, don't tell me Utah wouldn't sign it.
Would have to consider it.
They would sign it. And the same is true of Kansas. Same is true of Clemson. Same is true of Florida State. Same is true of Miami, Duke, North Carolina. North Carolina, I don't know what North Carolina's thinking. They got to get their shit figured out. But a lot of teams would just immediately sign it. I don't think this... I don't think any good is going to come out of this bill. I think it just made the division between the SEC, Big 10, and the Big 12 ACC that much deeper and that much wider.
You're right. I agree with everything you really said there, Moan. And like the division was there, it was growing. I just think this ripped off the Band-Aid and is speeding things up that were going to happen anyway. Like really, like this was inevitable. Is it today? Is this breakaway talk today? Or is this breakaway talk in a year? Is it in 2 years, 5 years, 6 years max? Done, right? And so it's a speed issue, not like it's a going to happen issue. I think there was the desire there. There's a lot of incentive for the SEC and Big Ten to break away. More media rights in the short term and the intermediate term based on what I've seen. You add Notre Dame into that and stuff, so it's very enticing. And plus you can get more NIL regulations and you can set very advantageous NIL caps and everything that might be hard for other conferences to match. And so you can create even better structural advantages in a breakaway situation than you've got right now. And so there's every reason for you to do it because you can create more advantage than you already have now, which is tremendous advantage. And so it's very clear, right? Like,
yeah.
Right. Like,
And,
I mean, like if you're running a business, it's basically just trying to bulldoze everything else and create the biggest and best business you can create. And that's one conference, right? Like your Big Ten conference, your SEC conference. But college sports is different than the free market. It's not the free market. You've got a lot of fundings elsewhere and everything, and you've got a lot of states involved. I mean, it's complicated, it's nuanced. And so, yeah, it goes back to like the question that I asked you, like, what would you do if you're a KU fan? You talk to Brett Yormark, what the frick he's supposed to do?
Well, right now, Brett Yormark and Jim Phillips should come out and take umbrage with the fact that nothing in the bill can be changed. I think they should come out and say, we're glad to hear the Big Ten and the SEC are willing to offer their thoughts and ideas to this legislation. And I think those should be listened to without any caveats. Basically, when Cantwell and Cruz come out and say, well, we're not changing this or this, you're basically telling the Big Ten and the SEC, well, your input isn't valid.
Like, so how, let's say that you're Big Ten and I'm Big 12, right? And like, we're trying to actually negotiate. Like, where's the negotiation? Like, how do you make a deal here? Is it just the fact of like no expansion? Like what? Because to me, that's the only big thing that's popping out. That's like, really, like, you're not forcing pooling of media rights at all. It doesn't say that at all. And so like, that's not part of this really. That's just like, that is not, there's no evidence to say that's
right.
Exactly
but the specific clause that they refuse to change is basically the Big Ten and the SEC cannot expand again. They have no control over their memberships. I want to make it very clear. The Big Ten has pushed a 2014 playoff. Do you think if the Big Ten was really interested in going silo, they would push a 2014 playoff? No, they'd stick with 12 or 16 because they know them and the SEC would get the most spots. They're going 24 to give the Big 12 and the ACC more opportunities to compete for a national championship. So
I'm with you. I agree with you.
And I know the SEC's not for that. Obviously, the SEC just wants 16 and, that's as far as we're going to go. But the Big Ten is willing to go to 24, get rid of any AQs, just make the best of the best, the top 24 play each other. And the SEC's opposed to that. I don't see how you can say the Big Ten has always been for a breakaway while they're pushing CFP at 24.
I think it's just the lack of trust with the Big Ten, obviously with the whole Pac-12 situation, right? And like in my school being involved in that, obviously there's no trust, right, to begin with and everything. But Petitti doesn't really talk much. And like it's seeming like all these like moves and stuff that are like diabolical moves that are silent moves. It's just like it feels so shady, right? Like a clandestine organization, right? There's no out there like let's do this for the conference in college football. Like there really is no leadership. And when like when you're more powerful than Charlie Baker or all the conferences combined and stuff, like you would hope there would be more leadership there and stuff for the good of like your conference in the long run, the sport. Because like the truth is, like, I mean, if you do break away and like you basically neuter everybody else, relegate them, that will get you in the end. It's going to kill the sport in the end. And so it's hurting you in the long term. So if you want to be smart about it and good steward about it, like be the leader of college football and don't screw everybody and talk and speak and lead and don't just shut stuff down all the time and don't say anything and stab people in the back. That's exactly the thought of the Big Ten right now. There's no trust at all. Like it's like clandestine, shady organization, man.
Well, again, they're not sharing secrets of the Big 12 with the Big 10 either. That is you just described every football conference. It was a shady organization when Oregon State and Washington State poached all those schools from the Mountain West. After the Mountain West had basically went out of their way to do them a favor and make sure they had a football schedule for that season. That was shady of the Pac-12 to do. Do you agree that was a shady, clandestine operation they pulled on the Mountain West?
I think that your point is valid for like the SEC and Texas and OU, but that Pac-12 Mountain West merger, or not merger, but like acquisition or whatever, was pretty open and messy. Like,
well, it was open and messy once it was announced. But I mean, you had schools that were the top brands of the Mountain West basically engaging in clandestine negotiations with Oregon State and Washington State to rebuild the Pac-12. I think the same thing's true about the Big 12. I think the Big 12's probably out there. They have their target list for expansion. They're probably, I know you don't like to hear it, but UConn is still out there. That's still a point of discussion for them. USF is a possibility. This bill doesn't target them and prevent them from doing that.
No, the bill's targeted at the Big Ten and the SEC.
It is.
It is. Yeah, and like in it kind of has to be though, because that's who has all the power though, right? Like, what's the point of like targeting like the G6? They've got no power. Of course, the bill is going to be targeted towards the SEC and the Big
right.
Ten.
But if you target
that's like the threat of non-existence is coming from. Is that
right? But right? if you target the two biggest conferences, and I don't get where Ted Cruz is saying, well, I'm going to get 60 votes in the Senate. I don't see it happening. I just don't. I mean, the two Republican senators from Ohio have said no. So you're not getting it with Republicans. On the Democratic side, you've got the Democrats saying, well, we were for employment and CBA and all this stuff to help the players, and that's been stripped out of there. Why would we vote for this? It's not a good faith piece of legislation.
Yeah. And I'm not sure that any legislation is going to be able to get through at all, right? Like, it's so divisive. It's so difficult to get anything through and anything agreed upon. It seems like a completely moot point to try to throw any of these duct tape proposals together, these bills, right? Like,
well, I don't think it's a moot point, but I think coming out and saying that we're not going to listen to your feedback, you're basically pushing them to leave. I mean, I don't know. Jacobra Cat with a $1.99 super chat. Thank you, Jacobra Cat. If Utes B12, his only leverage is his ass fruit. Do not forget, guys, we do have the ass fruit challenge that is going on this season. Ute has bet that 2 Big 12 teams get into the college football playoff, the 12-team CFP.
That's right.
If they do not, he will eat durian on a live stream. And if they do, I will eat durian on a live stream. The quote-unquote ass fruit challenge. It will happen. We've done a Mad Dog challenge. Now we're moving on to the ass fruit. Thank you for the super chat, Jacobra Cat. I think you will be saying this once the Big 12 does not get 2 teams in.
No, man. Shit, no, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
Nah, you'll see, Moan. 2 Big 12 teams. We made the bet already. I'm more confident than ever. It's going to happen. 2 Big 12 teams. And a Big 12 team will win a playoff game, too.
All right. Greg Flugar says, MBM, if you need help keeping the ice frozen, give me a call and I will lay down on the rink. You don't even have to lay down. You just walk by it on a hot summer day and it'll freeze, Greg. Greg is so cold, his goosebumps have goosebumps. Mark's Holy Grail. Moan and Ute, this bill is not dead yet. There's plenty of time and room for markup and amendments. Here are the only 3 changes needed. 1, change wording so no conference can expand to under 70% instead of 75. That way the SEC and Big can expand by plus 4 teams each. This doesn't give power to any excuse not to sign. And 3, they just need to eliminate the salary cap pool. But I agree with you, Mark. That would be great. But when you have Cruz and Cantwell coming out and saying there's parts of this bill that are not changing, one of which is a clause S205, which essentially targets the Big Ten and the SEC when it comes to expansion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why would you even... Like, I get it. The Big Ten's like, hey, we're going to send you some pointers over and what we think and what we'd like to change and how we could help with this bill. And the co-sponsors come out and say, no, we don't want your help. It's targeted. The entire point of this bill is targeting the Big Ten and the SEC. And here's something we're going to get into. And I know I tried to get to as many comments as I can, guys. I apologize, but I get off on these rants. Cruz coming out and saying the Big Ten and SEC told me they're forming a super league. And Tony Petitti came out and said, we never said anything about a super league. We're not interested in a super league. Greg Sankey was on Paul Feinbaum, said much the same thing. Like, we don't want to merge with the Big Ten. We don't want a super league. Who's lying here? Is it Ted Cruz or is it Petitti and Sankey?
Everybody's lying. Because, go ahead.
I will give Ted Cruz the benefit of the doubt. I think he is considering a breakaway as a super league.
Yeah.
Maybe that's his idea of a super league. I don't think that's the case really, but that's his idea of a super league. But yeah, I mean, it's not good when you have a senator coming out and basically using the term super league. I think he knew it was deceptive. He can always go back and claim, well, I meant if they break away. But he did it with the intention of adding negativity towards the Big Ten and the SEC.
Yeah, and like the scary word is super league.
Yes.
When everyone outside of the Power Two thinks super league, they think relegation.
Yes.
They think irrelevance. They think that you just got zapped by the Death Star. And so that is going to be a sticky word right there, the Super League. And like, there's a lot of different meetings and everything, and everyone thinks of it different ways. This has been discussed really well recently. And, but like, I mean, the SEC and the Big Ten, like they would, if they broke away within like the NCAA structure and they created a new premier league within the NCAA so they can keep their sports in the NCAA, which would make a ton of sense if they can get away with it. You effectively make a Premier League, Super League, and if you have an exclusive scheduling agreement with that conference, you've kind of just done it anyway. Like you can basically makeshift it to create what everyone fears without creating the actual Super League.
Yeah, and it should be pointed out, too, that Smash Capital, Smash Sports, they're for this piece of legislation. And Smash Sports, Smash Capital, basically put forth a Super League. Why is
a 72-team Super League?
Yes. Why is Super League that Super League's good? A Big Ten SEC Super League bad? Shouldn't all Super Leagues be evil?
I hear what you're saying. And like, this is an interesting thought too. Like, okay, that 70-team Super League idea. What do you think that would do for the future of college football over the next like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years? Would it bring more interest to the game or not versus a 32 to 36 team Super League? Like, because I'm thinking that 72 team scenario, you're leaving schools out, right? And so people are getting eliminated. They're getting relegated. I hear your point. That's your point, right? Like there's schools getting relegated no matter what. But like my point is this, like if you want to protect the game long-term and your investment and your business model long-term, then you better have representation everywhere in the biggest league that you can compete in across the nation and not just concentrate in some markets, some regions. There's no Mountain West representation at all in the P2, zero, like Moan, zero. And so what's that going to do for like the popularity of the game, the Big Ten conference and the SEC and watch and eyeballs and stuff in the long run? It's going to kill it, man. And so it's just not being very smart about your business in the long term for short-term gain. And so I think a 72-team Super League would be better for the long-term aspect of the game because you've got better regionality than a 36 to 32-teamer. And so that would be my rebuttal to what you're saying, but I get your point about relegation regardless.
Again, I think if the Big Ten goes to 24, which I know is a big ask, the Big Ten could add 2 more Western teams and enough regional Southeastern teams, and the SEC covers most of the South. I think you would still get regionality, I should say, in that. But again, I don't think the Big Ten and the SEC want to do business together outside of maybe a scheduling agreement.
Yeah.
Evil Badger, $5 super chat says Wisconsin has a better chance of CFP berth than Big 12 getting 2 teams in. Yeah, I was going to bring that up. How do you think Brendan Sorsby affects? Let's move on to Texas Tech and Brendan Sorsby.
This is a savage super chat right here.
I'm going to put the Ryan here. Here we go.
Oh, man.
That is savage, but hey, Ryan, make sure you tune in to watch the Ass Fruit Challenge as well. You gobbles down a delicious durian. It should be fun. Thank you for the super.
You've got
chat,
no
Ryan.
faith. You've got no faith in the Big 12, man.
I have no faith in no. I have no faith in the Big 12. I have no faith in the College Football Playoff Committee.
That's true.
There's a big difference. Big difference. And then Ryan gifted 5 more memberships to the College Football Mafia family, and those went to Brady Moon, Bruce Harris, CHJ, Ag Biochemist, King Spleen. Got quite a few Florida State fans in there. Wisconsin helping out the Seminoles. Thank you, Ryan. Very much appreciated, sir. Let's go ahead and we did on Wisconsin, we did the Badger, we did the Evil Laugh. Let's pull something up from a movie here. Here we go. We'll do a little clue.
1 + 2 + 2 + 1. There was only one shot that got the chandelier. That's 1 + 2 + 1 + 1.
Even if you were right, that would be 1 + 1 + 2 + 1, not 1 + 2 + 1 + 1.
That's right. That's right. We bad. That's right.
That works really well with that Bucky Badger, the we bad part. I do enjoy that. And since Ryan was so generous, I'm going to go ahead and give our last 5 gifted memberships for the month of June.
Let's go.
Right now. Get some new members on here. Get this train a-rolling. Thank you, Ryan Willie. We appreciate that. Welcome, FSU. We got another FSU guy. Al CCCC. Brandon Whitney. No Hammy Capita. Y2K Sports and Life. You are all welcome to the College Football Mafia family. Thank you for becoming members. Please enjoy those new memberships. If you got one from Ryan, make sure you thank him in the chat or in the comments section. I'm sure he would appreciate that. And, if you got one from us, just enjoy it. You've got a free membership for 30 days. So enjoy. Pit Snike Husker says, hey, all, you're a prince, Badger 72. Got a Husker. A big red congratulating Wisconsin.
Let's go.
Play you like, subscribe, share, and comment. Thank you all very much. Absolutely. If you're watching this, do as Timothy Green says. He's a good guy. I know he's going to be rooting for West Virginia baseball this weekend. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. It helps us tremendously, and it is free. Cost you nothing.
Well, we're only 34 subs away from 6K.
We're only 34 subs away from 6K. Caden says Moen. Moen says Caden.
That is an interesting conversation right there, Moen.
That's an Ohio conversation right there. Daryl CRH says, I'm getting tired of all this bill talk. Hey, man, I endorse taking Utah, Daryl. I mean, Ute will tell you that is not something I had on my bucket list this year, to endorse the Big Ten taking Utah. But I think if this bill keeps getting pushed forward, and I hate to say it, it's almost, maybe we are the empire and it's a little evil, but take one from the Big 12, take one from the ACC. Maybe that sends the message to your mark like the horse head in the bed. I don't know. Tony Lawson's here in the house, another Golden Gopher. The only people talking Super League are the have-nots. Not going to happen. Daryl CRH says Silos Super League.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. I mean, that creates a Super League, especially with a partnership, like you're effectively getting it done, right?
Again, I mean, if you have a partnership with the SEC, what if you have a partnership with the Big 12?
I would love that. I mean, like that would blow my mind because like the game seems more cutthroat than that. Like, why would you give any advantage with like a scheduling agreement to the Big 12 or the ACC when you can just be more cutthroat and put them in a worse situation, a more structural disadvantage? That's just not how the world works. And if this is Darwinian, there's no way that's happening, man. I don't trust it at all. Do you? Do you think that if the Big Ten silo, they'd be like, "Hey, Yormark, do you want to do a scheduling agreement?" What's the odds of that happening?
Well, I think if we could get to some form of agreement, I would like to see some of these rivalries return. I'd like to see Kansas-Mizzou played every year. But you're going to need the Big Ten and the SEC on board, assuming Kansas doesn't go to the Big Ten. I'd like to see Utah and BYU stay as a rivalry every year, assuming Utah goes to the Big Ten. I'd still want that rivalry to be played. I'd still want it to be a Big Ten, Big 12 rivalry.
100%.
Oklahoma State, that needs to come back. Oklahoma, Nebraska needs to come back. There's lots of rivalries that we've lost due to conference realignment consolidation that I think could be brought back if we could just all work together. Let's say Kansas stays in the Big 12, Mizzou stays in the SEC. Let's get that played every year. That's a great rivalry. But I don't know if they can do that now. I don't know. And I hope I'm wrong and they can get stuff worked out. I don't know, guys. I just think this bill may have done irreparable harm. David Floyd, who's a Texas Tech Red Raider, he says, so hope Texas Tech plays both Notre Dame or USC. Good news, if you play Notre Dame, you'll beat them.
Just like that.
Just like that.
You know what? Texas Tech, it's amazing in what they've done with the brand of the last 2 years, right? Of course, they're winning. Cody Campbell recruiting, but like they deserve a lot of kudos for like calling out Texas's BS and stuff, right? And then like getting the scheduling agreement with either Notre Dame or USC, or likely one of them over the next couple of years and stuff. So it's really cool to see that. Texas Tech is an elite brand. I love being in the same conference as Texas Tech because they're rude, they're nasty and stuff, and it's just like two villains hitting each other with Utah and Texas Tech. I love that, Moan. I freaking love that. I can't wait to destroy them next time we play them. But kudos to the Red Raiders.
Why does the Big Ten and SEC need to expand any bigger? We've waited 3 years for USC and Ohio State to finally play a football game. The bigger these conferences get, the less we'll see big matchup. I think some of that can be resolved just by having protected rivalries. But in that time, you've also seen a top 5 matchup between Ohio State and Oregon, a top 5 matchup between Indiana and Ohio State. Ohio State's played Washington and UCLA. It's just going to take time. It's going to take time to get the scheduling kinks worked out. But again, if they got bigger and Notre Dame was part of the conference, you could always ensure that USC and Notre Dame played each other. You could do it via scheduling agreement to make sure that Notre Dame and Michigan always played each other. These things can be done. If Virginia goes to the Big Ten and North Carolina goes to the SEC, those two conferences need to get together and make sure that that rivalry continues. Again, I think more is gained by working together. But, I also realize it's not a perfect world. And life's not fair sometimes. Caden agrees with the evil badger. The ACC are more likely to get 2 in than the Big 12. I agree with that. I think Miami definitely gets in. You don't think Miami gets in?
Miami probably gets in.
I think Miami gets in, and I think Miami might be, we'll have to see how their QB ends up playing out, but they might.
Yeah, they've got Mensah. Man, he's a senior. Yeah, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah,
Malachi the ACC is kind of crazy this year, right? Like the ACC, we haven't done a breakdown of the ACC, like in our preseason rankings, but Yeah, like that second place team.
You know, the most intriguing team to me in the ACC is Clemson.
Right.
Does Clemson bounce back? And if Clemson does not bounce back, does Clemson part ways with Dabo Swinney?
I think
I know he's done a lot for the school, but I mean, if you're in a situation where you're trying to get into one of the big two, you're Clemson and you're continually having these 7 and 8 win seasons, it's not a good look.
Moan, based on the brand index that Rock and Rand and I put together, the biggest decliner, really, that's not just like a decliner because of realignment. You know, Oregon State and Wazoo clearly got screwed in that situation. But Clemson, as far as like a brand, a viewership brand over the last couple of years, has really fallen off.
Yeah.
As far as how good a viewership product they are, they're not in the Trevor Lawrence era anymore. That was the height, the peak. They're winning championships. They had sunshine, but it's going the wrong direction. So you might need to make that move.
And I would say this goes a lot like Nick Saban. And one of the reasons Nick Saban is so anti-NIL, Nick Saban couldn't compete in the NIL era. And I think the same thing is true of Dabo Swinney. He cannot compete in the NIL transfer portal era. That's not to say he hasn't developed fantastic players out of Clemson. He absolutely has. But development isn't as big a deal as it used to be in college football. Indiana proved it last year. They went into the portal, got all these guys, experience. They properly rated them and had a good idea, and they won a national championship off of it. I don't know if Dabo's ever going to be able to evolve beyond that.
Well, that matters to the Utah-based programs like both Utah and BYU. Development. And in the NIL era, it's tough, man, to retain your roster, right? If you develop them into a 5-star talent, it's very hard to retain.
Right. I agree. But Utah and BYU do have the Mormon factor where a lot of these kids are LDS and they're going to stay at a BYU or Utah. They're not going to leave because of their faith. So,
right.
Kenneth Maynard with the $10 super chat. SEC won the softball national championship. The big streak of championships is over. A new streak begins, continuing with baseball. Pointing that out. Go Gators. I'm sure Becky Go Huskies, if she's still in the chat, has something to say about that. Becky, of course, a former varsity softball athlete at the University of Washington. But congratulations to whoever won the softball national championship. I don't really follow softball.
I think Texas Tech was in with Texas, and looks like who in the SEC? So I guess Texas won, right? Texas beat Texas Tech. I think that's what Kenneth is mentioning.
Okay.
Like, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Texas Tech had a good roster, too. I believe they won the championship last year because they had really a lot of good pitching. But and the SEC is still in the league conference. Like we kind of say, oh, they're not as good as the Big Ten now and stuff in football. But, man, it's a superpower. You've got Alabama, Texas, Georgia in this freaking conference. It's a giant. And I'll just say one thing, Moan. I went to Florida, Utah several years ago, and Gainesville and the University of Florida at the Swamp was the coolest college football away experience I've ever had. I've been to Texas. In fact, I almost got punched in the face at Texas, man. The Texas Longhorn game, those punks. They're punks out there. They're super big punks, at Royal Stadium. But the Swamp, man, is an amazing place. If anyone ever can go there for a game, it's a special place to go. College football royalty for sure.
Yeah, I've never been to Texas, never been to the Swamp, been to the Coliseum, which was pretty cool. Been to Camp Randall, which is, that's one of those, you got to cross that off your bucket list, go to Camp Randall. Been to Memorial Stadium out in Nebraska. That was very cool. Mostly Big Ten stadiums, but I mean, that's the way it is. Is there a third hour today? Not yet, Caden. We were supposed to have a call yesterday, and Nate had to work and we couldn't do it. It's something we're going to talk about when we have our next members meeting. Not members meeting, but partners meeting among the three of us. The Bedlam is dead. Bury it. That comes from Superman.
This is tough. Like, I get the thoughts and everything and not wanting to play Oklahoma yet, but that's such a special game. Is it better or worse for Oklahoma State not to play that Bedlam game? It's better for them to play it.
It's better for them to play it. It's better for them to play it, especially if they can bounce back. Because that's always, even if Oklahoma State doesn't have a win, that's going to be a competitive game against Oklahoma. You know, it's like the Iron Bowl. I mean, Auburn will have 4 wins that year, but they'll beat Alabama, who is undefeated. It's one of those rivalry games where the teams get up for it. I would like to see it replayed again, but if not that, give me Oklahoma, Nebraska. C. John 3006, your mark was clear about his feelings on the Power 2 stewardship responsibilities towards college athletics. P2 doesn't give a shit about what they break in the money grab consolidation plans. I just realized I forgot to give Kenneth Maynor a sounder, and you brought up the swamp, so let's go ahead and hear a little bit of the Florida fight song, which is right next to the ECU thing.
You know, Moan, when I was out there in Gainesville several years ago, talked to some Gator fans and everything, and they told me, like, they're like, hey, like, they had respect for Utah's football. They didn't watch a lot of Utah football games because they're in the South and Southeast. I get it, right? That happens a lot. But the topic of, like, who was the Utah doppelganger came up, like, in the nation and stuff, from a Florida Gator perspective, the SEC perspective. And I'll tell you what, Evil Badger's not going to like this, but it's Wisconsin. That's what they said. I mean, I've asked multiple people down there and stuff, and they're like, always like Wisconsin or Iowa. That's who they see Utah as. Basically,
Iowa,
Wisconsin.
I can see, based off of the defensive stuff. Yeah, I don't know that anybody is a real doppelganger for Utah. But, I mean, that's what Florida fans think. Shonsky says if Utah went to the Big Ten, they wouldn't ever play BYU again. They're a typical Big Ten team. Again, I'd like to see people work together to make sure these rivalries don't go away. I'd like people to work together to make sure that these rivalries continue to happen, these out-of-conference rivalries. But, you know, we'll have to see.
Utah's not in the Big Ten. There's no guarantee Utah gets in the Big Ten conference.
Right.
And if Utah ever didn't make their way into the Big Ten, I'm pretty sure there would be a caveat in there where the Big Ten basically says you have to play that Holy War game.
Yeah.
Guess what, guys? You want BYU fans watching Big Ten football.
Yeah, you want.
If Utah ever got in, that's a no-brainer, almost a requirement to play. I think so. I think it absolutely happens.
It's a money game every other year for the Big Ten. They're not going to get rid of that. That's a prime. Sure. The best thing about that would be that game would probably be elevated.
Right.
It might be a primetime game on NBC. You know, a lot of good things could happen to that. Daryl CRH says a Western division of the Big Ten with USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, Utah, and Kansas. Kansas, I don't know about in a Western pod. I think you might have to pick out somebody else out west. Who that is, I don't think it'll be the Arizona schools. So I think it would be either Colorado or Cal. But you could still add
Stanford's stinking it up, Bone.
That's going
to be the greatest botch, man, if they don't get in the Big Ten. That's going to be such a fail if Stanford doesn't get in the Big Ten.
Yeah, and I still think even if you have a 6-team pod out west, you can still get Kansas into the Big Ten. By the way, I endorse Kansas into the Big Ten as well.
Kansas, the gentleman.
We were talking about federal research grants earlier. The cancer hospital that Kansas has is one of the top 1% in the nation. It is fantastic. Becky says, watch the G6 get 2 in again before the Big 12 gets 2.
I don't get it, guys. Like, really, this Big 12 year is going to be big. Like, there's Texas Tech, despite Sorsby, has a strong roster. BYU's got a very strong roster. Hey, I'll tell you what. If BYU beats Notre Dame in Provo, there's going to be 2 Big 12 teams getting in the playoff. that basically is going to sure up BYU to get in. I think winning that type of game.
Remember, Notre Dame gets in if they're just in the top 12. There's no way to block that anymore. So a Notre Dame could lose to a BYU, still get into the top 12, and BYU could be on the outside looking in at number 13 if they get a loss to, say, Utah or you know how the committee generally favors Utah, but it doesn't even, or Notre Dame, but it doesn't even matter this year because they're guaranteed a spot. Dabo is gone. First big program coach fired this year. I agree. I just don't know that he has it anymore. And I think this year he has to show something. I think everybody in the big college football mafia last year picked Clemson to win the ACC. Yeah. And we were absolutely wrong about that. We were very, very wrong. Janice has 2 questions. 1, when does the silos begin? And 2, who is the +1 with Miami to the Big Ten? Again, I said it earlier. I'll say it again. Utes not saying this. This is Moen, an Ohio State fan, saying this. And I'm not saying this based on any knowledge or information. I'm just saying if I was the Big Ten, the 2 most readily available schools to me right now are Miami and Utah, and possibly Duke. But, I think if you're going to 24, which if you're going silo, I think you have to go to 24 if you're the Big Ten. I think it's a must-have if you go silo. You have to go to 24. Might as well just pick up a team in the West right now. So pick up Utah. They've got the private capital money to pay out. Get out of the Big 12. They can keep some of that money left over because they're going to take a pay cut to get into the Big Ten. And I think Utah probably realizes. I think a lot of teams probably realize that. So if you ask me,
it's about how steep a pay cut you're willing to take. Really, Duke might say 0.
Yeah, Duke has said 0.
Yeah, there you go. So how low can you go is the question. Not just a pay cut, but how low can you go, baby? I think the Big Ten.
Utah has the benefit of being a Western team, and Duke is an Eastern team. So I think if it comes down to it and you want to get started in the Southeast, you start with Miami. If you want to continue and build possibly a 6-team pod out West, you grab Utah now. But that's just me. That's just Moen saying that. I have no information on that. That was not relayed to me at the Memorial Tournament this year. Jacobra Cat said, would the SEC want the Huskers if they left the Big Ten?
Yeah, they would.
I think that's
the best fit ever for the SEC.
I think
best
that is
fit ever.
I think that's an Iowa Hawkeye wishing that upon the Huskers. But yeah, I don't think I don't think the Huskers are leaving the Big Ten. But yeah, if they're, they sell out that stadium. They sell out that stadium for women's volleyball. They've got some of the best fans in America. They're so nice. They'll feed you. They'll give you liquor. They know how to cook corn about 50 different ways. You can have multiple types of corn there if you go tailgate, and you can say, I didn't know you could do all these things with corn, but apparently you can. Thank you for the super chat, Cobra Cat. I'll play a little Iowa fight song. Fergie, Moen, Southwestern Conference literally collapsed on its own with geography and corruption. League with 8 Texas teams had no TV value. They begged to join the Big 8. No malice. And the Big 8 was very principled and took 4 and let the other 4 get relegated to G status. You can say there's no malice, but you still kill. You can say, well, we accidentally killed them. You still killed them, Fergie. You absolutely did. And guess what? USC and UCLA begged to join the Big Ten. does not change the fact that the Big Ten cut the tendon on the Pac-12. I mean, we're all my point is, Fergie, we're all killers. We're all sitting in a room trying to argue semantics on how we killed or why our kill was righteous or how we were decent enough to use the really sharp knife and end it quick. We're all killers. The Power Four is what it is today because we all killed somebody. We all did.
It's nasty business, Moan.
It's nasty business. It is. It's not for the faint of heart, but thank you for the super chat, Fergie. I do appreciate that, sir. I already played the Colorado fight song, so let's do a little Munson.
It's a tough world. These kids nearly got Munson, but they're back now.
That's right.
What is
These
that
conferences nearly got Munson. You've never seen the movie Kingpin?
Oh, I've seen that movie. I didn't know it was from that movie.
Yes, that's one of the running gags in the movie. He says, "I'd rather not get Munson out here," and the guy realizes that his name has entered the lexicon for a screw up. So, Munson becomes these kids almost got Munson. The new rules are A4 get automatic qualifiers. Notre Dame, if on top 12, and top G6 all get in. There you go.
Mona, what do you think for the next realignment cycle, whoever gets in, what's like the true media rights discount they're going to have to take? In my mind's eye, it's probably, I think the Big Ten would say, hey, whatever you were making in your prior conference, we'll just make that flat. Like, hey, if you were making 40, 45 million, we'll just match that over the next couple of years and then ramp you up eventually. So you're not taking a reduced share from what you were getting.
I think you can't make more than Oregon and Washington.
Yeah.
I think that's the baseline for any team. You cannot make more than Oregon and Washington. Now, you may make less than Oregon and Washington, but I think the baseline is you cannot make more than Oregon and Washington.
How much are they making? 50?
They're not. Well, they probably are with the distributions the way they are now. They're probably making 50 million, but they're not making 50%.
Right. 50 million. That sounds right.
Tony Lawson wants Miami and Florida State.
It's weird that Florida State, like as a Big Ten target, has really slowed the chatter around that. It's basically dead right now, right?
More or less, but a lot of it has to do with the state of Florida, not Florida State. The other guy actually says Clemson was number 1, Miami was number 2 in our picks, and Duke ended up winning the conference over Virginia. Ryan Willie says Georgia Tech, Georgia Tech, Georgia Tech.
Cheers to you, Moan.
The Moan
we'll drink
abides.
for that. A little GT, baby. Georgia Tech's an interesting one, too. Like, it's just gone cold on Georgia Tech. They were the hot realignment team you're talking about and stuff. They seem to have some momentum. They were getting a lot of chatter, and then it's just been dead for like 6 months.
Well,
Georgia Tech. I've heard nothing on Georgia Tech, Moan.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think Duke has kind of probably put the – I don't know. We'll have to see what University of Virginia does. I think if Virginia goes to the Big Ten, then I think it's going to be between Duke or Georgia Tech. And talking about who's making money is Duke will do it for free. Half share in the Big Ten is plenty, Tony Lawson says. Arningad says numbers list, Bay Area, state of Arizona, state of Colorado, BYU, Utah, Kansas.
Numbers list.
Yeah, I think he's ranking them.
Oh, ranking them, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Washington and Oregon are getting full shares come 2030. Absolutely correct. I think the Big Ten could theoretically extend these invites for 2030. They could say you can join the Big Ten in 2030.
Do you know how savage that would be?
And that grandfather, well, I mean, if you're going to have to get around this legislation, you have to basically grandfather it in, because when that legislation passes, it's going to say who are members of the Big Ten. Well, if they've got an invite out there, you can legally argue that they are members of the Big Ten. If they have formally accepted that invite, you just change the date. You just future date it. It's like future dating a check.
The Big 10 or the Big 12 needs 18 months notice period. If you're leaving the conference, it's 18 months, not 12. And so you'd have to announce that beforehand, and you couldn't. I don't know if you could pull that off, but it's interesting. It would be savage. Like 18 months is a long leash too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Wild Ute with his half-hearted arm pumps whenever a fight song comes on.
You want to see a real? Let's go. Let's go. Look at those pit stains, baby.
Here we go. We'll see if this gets half-hearted with him. We'll go ahead and play a little Utah man.
Top man and I go Utes.
FSU will fire Norvell's ass when SMU puts 40 plus on him in Tallahassee. Got one more super chat here, and then we're going to split, guys. Big will demand Utah cheerleaders. I haven't seen, not that I can recall. Last Utah game I was at was against Ohio State, and I was too busy watching Jackson Smith and Jigba scoring touchdown after touchdown after touchdown on his way to becoming the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history.
Ramon, you act like you blew Utah at that game. No, man, not at all. You got lucky to escape with that one.
No,
I took you out.
I act like Utah. I act like Utah blew a tremendous lead when Ohio State was sitting Marvin Harrison Jr. He wasn't even playing.
Because Rising got hurt, man. You had the pig farmer. You had a running back playing quarterback. What do you think that he went off and stuff?
I think
that game.
I think what we need to do, I think we need to have a members only stream where we watch Utah versus Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. I think that's what we need to do. I think that's what we need to do. I want to thank everybody who came in tonight. I appreciate that. I'm sorry we didn't get to more comments. I know we get a little heated. Little discussion here. Love hearing your guys' feedback, though. If you would leave a comment in the comment section below, you're watching this on demand. We do reply to comments. For myself, for Wild Ute, we're going to take off, but I will remind you, Sunday at 8 p.m., it's myself and Rock for Mowing After Dark, and we're going to be talking about some stuff on there. I think you'll definitely want to tune in. Mr. Wizard had some stuff to say. I just need to try and remember what I'm not allowed to say. But yeah, we'll be talking about some stuff on Sunday. I think you guys will find it interesting. Again, as always, if you have not done so yet, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're almost to 6,000, all the way to 6K. Let's do it, people. We can do this. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, put QR codes on telephone poles, buy billboards out of your own money, buy airtime on UHF stations where it's relatively cheap to promote the college football mafia. We could really, really use it. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's been a fantastic Big Freaking Friday show. I want to thank everybody for the super chats, the gifted memberships, all that stuff. It is great. It helps us keep the lights on here, helps us stay pumped. It helps us get hyped so we can stay hyped. Again, thank you, and we will catch you guys next Friday.